Alright, what's up guys? Part 3, lower body day. We just finished up heavy weights, some machines, and a little bit of athletic motion. Now, we're moving into jumps. Oh boy. After what I just went through, takes a second to get into the groove here. But I like to jump over things because I feel like that's probably practical. I'll be playing with the orientation, get different heights and lengths to jump over. Oh boy. Okay, it's coming back. I was gonna say, I do not feel the snap in me right now, but it's coming. We'll be good. Got some solid fatigue going on in the quads in particular. But we'll live. So with legs, well, before I get into that, let me tell you about jumping. I think it's the single most functional thing you can do, as you're just looking at actual real life, how you move, whatnot. The times that you're going to be in trouble, or someone might struggle, let's say they stumble, or they've got to catch themselves on one foot or something. It's what jumping is it's rapid production of force. So when your grandma kicks a rock and stumbles onto that right leg, it's the ability of that right leg to quickly take on the load of the force and rebound it. It's plyometric, which I'll tell you real quick, educate you. Plyometric is when there's first a stretch in the muscle, a rapid stretch. So in addition to your own conscious effort to push, there's a reflex. It's called the plyometric reflex or the myotatic reflex. Rapid stretch, it'll produce force on its own. So you couple that reflexive force production with your own conscious force production, and you get rapid levels. Well, you get high rates of force production and high amounts of force. But that's what's going to make you sure-footed, if you will. It's going to protect you from injury. You're practicing, especially where I'm jumping over something and I'm landing with forward momentum as well. That's a common mechanism of knee injury. But like I was saying, with the knees over the toes, deep squats, things like that, your body's meant to move. If you strengthen that position, you're going to be strong in that position. Surprise. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this, get a little more length, and have a little bit more of a longitudinal jump. Just a little bit. It's not a big difference, but I'll fly through these. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about athletic is with my leg day, I'm also training core. And sorry, I'm fixing my hair, pinning it down with my earbuds so it doesn't press buttons. But one of the big elements of core is that flexion, that tuck right there. And here, we're training that tuck in addition to the extension, getting that leg lift And particularly with jumping over things, you have to maintain that tuck. So it's a great way to get that rolling. Oh man, my hair's pressing all kinds of buttons. I really need a headband. Make sure I didn't stop the video. Oh, sweet, we're good. You know, if your abdominals suck, this alone might actually make your abs sore. Don't underestimate their involvement here. Let me add some height. I should probably slow this down a little bit. I think I filmed my jump training pretty recently, but the idea here is a little bit different because we're not necessarily trying to dig deep and hammer the muscle. There's a much greater skill component to this, and we want to keep the reps crisp, sharp. I've never thought plyometric was the place for sets to failure. I think explosive training is much better developed. Keeping things clean, focused, relatively non-fatiguing. These feel good today. Those ones felt particularly good because I noticed I included a lot more arm swing. It's almost like I grab where I want to go to and pull myself in. And even though I'm not actually grabbing anything, with the inertia that my arms have, that's basically what's happening. All right, next up, I'm going to switch to some bit more height. I'll probably keep the jumping a little on the light side today because, man, I did good today on the other stuff. I don't want to overdo it. One more set of those, and I'll include some laterals. Normally I would grab this 6-inch here and rotate it so it's a little higher, but I'm going to pass on that today. Nice. I think I jump pretty well for a 100-pound bodybuilder. Tell me what you want. All right, incorporate some lateral movement here. I'm going to set my water bottle down to mark where I'm going to jump from. I'll show you what we do. We do a lateral jump in, jump over, and a lateral jump. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but you get the idea. And then I'm going to flip it around so that I'm jumping left first. Nice. So this is about to wrap up my jumping. And then I'll have one more leg exercise and then 2 core specific exercises. Then we'll be done. We're getting there. So even though I'm not really moving forward, I'm moving more vertically, but what we have going on here so when I jump to the right leg that lands, it has a lateral eccentric into a sagittal concentric, and then the reverse on the other sides with both legs in both directions. So what it really is a change of direction between lateral and sagittal, which is what makes this such a wonderful athletic exercise. Because on the field, if you're playing soccer or football and you're running, you want to change direction. You have the same thing. You have sagittal plane muscle action, and then you switch to frontal plane action. So this is a really good kind of catch-all for flexibility. But the same way when you're on the field, the way people get hurt in soccer is what's most common is girls, they're running. Happens all the time. Girls, they plant a foot and then they rotate into a frontal plane. And they get that medial deviation of the knee with that rapid extension. That's where their ACL tears. So you definitely want to be competent if you're going to be doing sports in nice, fluid, soft change of direction. That's how you're going to move better and prevent injury. I'm telling you, every time, women's soccer ACL tears, it's always plant, rotate, snap. That's not always, but very, very common mechanism of injury. And of course, it can happen to men too, but I'm going to give you a hot take here. Well, it's a fact, but get mad if you want. Happens less in men because they're stronger. Sorry. Not sorry. Even after my squats and all my heavy, crazy fatiguing work, when I start jumping, I get like a second wind. It's fun. All right, just pause on my music one more time on accident, but I'm gonna call that good with jumping. Okay, we're just about done. Looks like I'll get my whole workout in 3 parts, which is kind of nice. But let me grab a weight for this. This final exercise it's not exactly the same, but it was inspired by Knees Over Toes guy. So shout out to him. You appreciate he's what's the word? He facilitates extreme ranges of motion. He's a proponent I like to do this weighted. Keep it over my head. So what I'm doing is I'm training. Well, ultimately, I do this because I want to be able to do the splits, to put it simply. But there's a lot of hip extension going on here, and I'm actually trying to extend the back as well. Put tension in the front abdominals. You don't need a ton of weight here. You can even do this without weight. The idea is not necessarily to get heavier weights, but to get better range of motion in your rear hip and abdominals. And the first set is always going to be the sloppiest because, well, as you go through, those muscles are going to loosen up and warm up. But I'll probably do 3, maybe 4 sets. And the idea being to get better range of motion with each one. But it is going to strengthen your rear hip flexor and rear quad as well. And as well as your front quad. It's good to get good range of motion through all of that. So this does a lot of things for you. And then if you have the overhead and you flex the spine a little bit, you're gonna get tension, strengthen your abs as well. So just a lot of good things going on. I love this exercise. I'm gonna stop talking and focus. I could feel that my range of motion was a little better. Hopefully you could see it too. But now that I'm not jumping and the adrenaline is kind of backing off, I'm starting to feel that fatigue again. But we're just about done. So stick it out. Man, my hair pushing buttons is really annoying. It just completely turned off. One of the left ear is still going, but it turned off the right ear. Honestly, I don't even know how to do that. Oh, turned it on. Nice. That's better. Yeah, I need headbands or something. We do one more set of this. This should not be super intense. It's as much of a stretch as it is a lift. I am trying to flex my rear glute to really get the most out of that rear hip extension. Ooh. I accidentally touched my knee down. I try not to do that. I guess ultimately the idea, well, same as with the splits, is to open up the hips as much as possible while keeping the rear leg straight. Oops. Okay. That's good there. So we got 2 more exercises for the abs. We're just about there. These are relatively low intensity as well. So, the reason I started doing these was for gymnastics, because I wanted to bend better, but it's just really good strengthening as well. So obviously, it's a side bend. Intentionally contracting the hip and the oblique on the side I'm bending to stretch out the hip and the oblique on the other side. Then I obviously contract the opposite side to reverse the motion. But this is a great way to strengthen lateral hip and spine movement through a meaningful range of motion. I don't think it's very practical to do all the isometric type stuff that you see. Your body's meant to move. You should train with movement. Alternatively, you can just lose the ability to move, which is what most individuals do. And then by the time they're my age, they're vegetables. We're not going to let that happen. So this is kind of similar to the deep lunge I just did, in that one of the progression variables is range of motion. So I really like to take a second and think about the stretch and the elongation occurring. I'm going to call that good for the lateral bends, side bends. Now, I'll show you the ultimate ab exercise, which is just the back bend. I don't know why this isn't wildly popular. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it but myself. At least as an ab strengthening exercise. But all you do is put your hands up, bend over backwards. You progress range of motion, but the tension in the abdomen is immaculate. Probably hear some interesting guttural sounds as my blood pressure skyrockets, so don't mind that. So as the sets progress, I'm going to get a little bit more range of motion each time. Whew. But the idea is, kind of don't overthink it. You're just trying to touch your toes backwards. And theoretically, by the time I can do that, I'll have the flexibility and the strength to pretty casually perform a back walkover, which is what inspired the initiation of this exercise in the first place. If you stretch out your T-spine as well, you'll get a little more motion from your arms. try to keep my legs mostly straight anyway. Whew. How are you guys doing? Because I'm toast. I'm gonna eat some food. I hope my legs look at least okay. I should be flexing a little more because I don't know how the lighting is right here, but I've got a screenshot something, a thumbnail, either that or you'll find an old picture. I think I've got a pretty decent one I can use. Oh boy. I feel it now. I feel like that was a good one. On those, try not to lose your balance and fall over backwards. Also, try not to pass out because your blood pressure will be quite high. But it's very simple, but that's my primary long range of motion ab strengthening movement. And we call that good. That's my leg workout. Now I'm gonna run through my flexibility routine before I go eat. But I've got a video up on that if you want to get flexible. So that's gonna be it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. And peace out.